Hey,
So there it is. There it isn't.
we're here.
It's here. It's live. And our new look ish. We are slightly closer. So better or worse, I don't know. But anyway, this is our show. So today we are going to backpedal.
You didn't play us in.
Jesus, Murphy, where are my manners?
Jesus Christ. There we go.
Well, you had me all frazzled.
I'm sorry.
So anyway, we're gonna backpedal 2 episodes if you guys are
We're gonna
fans of the
have two
show.
episodes back to back.
That's not at all what I was saying. We are going to have 2 episodes back to back. What I'm saying is we're going to backpedal back 2 episodes.
Oh,
One
yeah.
episode.
Okay,
No, 2 episodes.
2 episodes.
Poop Pickle filled in for you on last week's episode.
Did a good job.
He did. But the week before that, we said before we left off that we were going to discuss some paranormal activity that we've encountered in our lives. Yeah, we'll be talking about some spooky titties.
We like spooky shit, and we even more so spooky titties.
But so anyway, you know what goes great with titties? Ice cold Yingling.
I I I don't got no argument for that, so I'm gonna have to just take your word for it.
Nope. Nope. We're down to the bottom drawer here.
Oh, boy.
All right. So anyway, speaking of refreshments, a new hip trend is going around with coffees, handmade, hand brewed, maybe a potion. I don't know what it is. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I do appreciate some good handcrafted
I'm a coffee
drinks.
drinker.
So all right, so you'll appreciate this then, Dale. Groove Coffee, located in the Pittsburgh area, has a mobile trailer that they take to venue to venue. You've seen like the booze carts, people coming by with making the drinks and whatnot. You know, if you're into that sort of thing, drinking booze and whatnot. But these two sisters have started a company, Groove Coffee, and I'm going to post their information. I believe I have the Instagram link, which is probably where you're going to find everything you need anyway. But anywhoosie, yeah, if you like to drink coffee and you're having an event
And you like to be groovy.
and you like to be groovy, and if you like redheaded sisters, then Groove Coffee. So yeah, that's our only plug for this episode.
And speaking of groove,
you son of a bitch! I really thought you were gonna give in this time.
never.
So anyway, yep, Groove Coffee, book them. Delicious coffee, maybe. I don't know because I don't drink it, but maybe they'll put some booze in mine. So anyway, this week's episode, one of this week's episodes, we're talking about our paranormal activities. The show that's going to directly follow this show, we'll be talking about all of our pickups for the last week or so, everything we found in Monroeville today at the convention, and other various things. So
Maybe.
yeah. So
Maybe
anyway,
we'll leave it at that.
spooky tits. Have you ever seen a pair of spooky tits? You know, there's a great pair of spooky tits. What was it? Ghost Ship? No, 13 Ghosts.
13 Ghosts.
13 Ghosts. Great spooky tits.
Never seen.
So I did work spooky tits in.
I've never seen that before, but no, I mean, I know you have a very frightening experience from when you were.
Yeah, it was. But it was also. I feel like a lot of stuff I've actually, I've seen and experienced. I feel like it's all been. I've never been. Let's just say I've never been in fear of the unknown. I've always been very curious of things. One thing for sure, I was definitely afraid. The one experience I had in the house that I grew up in, I had a couple experiences there. Um, but a lot of that stuff never really seems to frighten me, like demonic possession and stuff like that. Do I believe in it? I'd like to think
Were
that
you against me having the Ouija board?
yes.
Why? Of you of all people, why were you against? Because everyone had a fucking problem with that thing.
I feel like,
and I bought it under the best circumstances. It's from the '60s. I bought it at a flea market.
So you're gonna get a hippie ghost. You're gonna get a hippie demon. That's what you want lurking around you is a hippie demon.
That does sound worse than a normal
It
demon.
does sounds worse than hell. So
Hey guys, what's up with all these possessions, man?
my thing is, if you don't go looking for trouble, trouble won't find you. And let's say it's all hokey, which I'm sure it is. But let's say you freaked yourself out enough to like the next bad thing that happens to you, you're gonna be like, it was that goddamn Ouija board. I'm fucking cursed now, and so I don't know. And to me, I don't know. I again maybe just with the religious upbringing, I was always taught like demons. I guess they kind of work along the same guidelines as vampires. They can't enter in you unless you invite them, and if the priest puts a demon into your butthole, you're not supposed to tell anyone about it. But spooky.
It's
So,
all in the same category.
Awesome.
Not the awesome one.
well, yeah.
All right. Anyway, it's just one of the fucking rails. In a matter
So
of
yeah.
5
Well, I thought
minutes.
you had a paranormal
I
story.
did. Oh, I have a couple. I have a couple. So I've
None of them
always
involving a Ouija board, right?
no, nothing involving a Ouija board. Though my mother always did tell me to try it out one time. Of all people.
Maybe your mom's been a ghost this whole time.
Maybe she was. Maybe my
She's
mom.
she's pulled a Bruce Willis.
Maybe my mom is Bruce Willis. Maybe he's just that good of an
Bruce
actor.
Willis just in a wig.
He's-
Clarence.
like when Joe was pretending to be Lois whenever Lois.
Your mom has
Lois
just been Mrs. Doubtfire the whole time.
God
Dale, hello.
damn it. So, Mom, we might have to have a talk later. I want answers. But
Just gonna be, hey, mom. Oh,
anyway, no, okay, so this is something that I'll never forget. My aunt, when she passed away, her career, she was a teacher, taught English, and she always gave me a bunch of books when I was young. And one of the set of books she gave me the Harry Potter series, the first 4 books. I never read them just because I didn't read a
as
lot.
well you shouldn't.
I didn't. Derek might disagree with you. I didn't read them just because I didn't read a lot when I was a little kid. I didn't really get into reading until I was like in high school. But I'll never forget one day when I was alone in the house. This was like on the anniversary of her death, like a year after she died. I was upstairs alone in the house. I heard a loud like thump from my room.
They're gonna say moaning. I
Not
was gonna
moaning.
say, Dale, I've solved that mystery.
Not moaning.
It was Bruce Willis
it
and
was-
Dawn.
God damn it. I just said I was alone in the house.
Okay,
But
continue.
anyway, but I went back to my room and one of my books was laying open in the middle of my floor, like a good 10 feet away from my shelf.
What page was it on? Was it something
I
significant?
didn't look
You know
into
what?
it.
That could have been a message
I
from your
didn't
dead aunt. You
think.
fucked it up.
I did.
Oh my god.
She just, I don't know. She didn't.
She's just like, oh, I've conjured up all this ghostly energy to send my favorite nephew a message. He's walking like, oh, fuck that book.
Close that up. I ain't reading that fucking bullshit. Yeet.
Wow.
So
He fucked up
every
there.
time I tell that story, I get grilled for not reading the page.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? She really cared. She would have reached out again.
Yeah, it seems lazy on her part.
That's what I'm saying. Damn it, Paige. Anyway, my other one I wouldn't, because, okay, the reason this got brought up is because we were trying to think of topics and we talked about urban legends, stuff we've read, like, myths and shit like that. And I brought up the story about the Hat Man. And you had never heard about the Hat Man.
That's right. You were supposed to talk about urban legends.
The Hat...
Fuck, I didn't think of it. Anyway.
The Hat Man is a character similar in the vein of, like, say, Slender Man, where people have reported seeing him, and basically it's like an image that kind of is engraved in their brain, and they'll see him like say 20 years later.
Talk about this image. Is it now what kind of hat? Is it a fedora? Is it a top hat?
Think like okay,
a ball cap.
Do you remember the movie Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers?
Yeah.
Whenever he gets broken out of prison at the end of the movie,
yeah.
the dude that breaks him out of prison that has like the big coat and the hat, that's what like the
all
Hat
right,
Man looks like.
all right, I get it. All right.
Think of like the Undertaker.
That's all right.
We'll go with the Undertaker.
That makes the most sense to me now.
So people have like seen him, and after doing looking it up, I guess like it started as a mural in South Carolina, I believe.
So it just kinda
Well, it was a mural advertising something, but the mural was so fucking creepy, it like scared kids. I'm assuming that's where like they
just kinda
started
spawned off of there.
kind of generated from that. But there's been a lot of stories of people saying they've seen this like entity,
So there was never, like,
and
a real person, like an
no,
escaped mental
no,
patient who
no,
did
no.
murder
It was
someone
just
and
essentially an urban legend that got circulated through different
well,
people.
I can
And
accept that.
but what's creepy is I don't know if anybody listening. I thankfully only experienced this once. This is something I will never forget. This is the most terrified I've ever been in my life. Um, One night I was sleeping, I had a bout of sleep paralysis.
That's a ghost having sex with you.
Uh,
That's what the belief was for the longest
for the
time.
longest time, yeah. But well,
And you know what, to be fair, it's never been disproven.
it has not been disproven. I can't confirm or deny that's what was happening. But I will never forget. I fell asleep, but I knew I was awake. Could not move my head more than like an inch over to the right, and I saw a black figure standing in the doorway.
Well, that's always scary.
Yeah, but like a shadow, a shadowy figure standing in the doorway.
Did he have a plate of corn rolls?
No, no, he did not. You know what's funny? I brought that story up last night.
The corn
The
rolls?
corn rolls. So I hope she's watching because now she'll get. I said if you just say to Josh, ask about the corn rolls.
I will be in tears.
Yeah. So no, he did not have corn rolls. Okay. Do you want to explain? You can go ahead. We'll segue here.
So
We'll segue. Go
so the
ahead.
corn roll story is
I'll let you tell it.
you were asking a friend of ours if you would survive in the hood, wasn't it? Wasn't it that? Like, didn't you say
Yeah.
you were trying to say like, oh, like I'd walk in there with like corn rolls in my hair or whatever instead of corn rows, and so it just spawned into me drawing pictures of Dale holding up essentially Twinkie stuffed with corn. But that's where corn rolls came from.
Yeah. So now I'm pretty sure when I die one day, that's what's going to be brought up at my funeral.
100%. I already have it planned out.
I'm not surprised. But yeah, those would probably be to segue back. Those would probably be my two most no. My family is very spiritual, and my I have relatives who have experienced a lot of weird shit before. Especially like in regards to like smelling my grandma's perfume, like dreams or visions of like
And my
just
mind
see.
went terrible places. I'm listening.
That's why we can't have a serious conversation about anything on
It's
this
hard.
show.
It's hard.
I know it is. But yeah, that's so my family has a big history of that, but I've never like after my I had an aunt that died. Like my dad swears that she appeared before him and like visited him right like around the time she died. So I don't know. My family's had some that's a lot of stuff happen in that regard.
Yeah, I don't know necessarily that my family
Has your
said,
parents ever talked about anything like that or anything of any of that nature?
um, not necessarily. Um, I don't think most of my family talks about. They believe more of the spiritual, paranormal side of things, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Um, the house I grew up in, though, I'm 100% certain it was
yeah. You didn't even tell that
haunted.
story.
Um, well, there was three things I remember specifically that happened in that house, and then a fourth ongoing thing that's been happening. So,
Ben.
well, yeah.
Okay.
So the first thing was um when my dog died when I was growing up. He was a great dog. He was a Chihuahua. His name was Shadrack. He was fucking awesome. He was the coolest dog. He once saved me from getting stung the shit out of by a bunch of hornets and stuff. He was a great little loyal dog. He was awesome. We all grew up with him. He was cool. Um, but I can't remember if it was the night after he had died or it was the week or it was shortly after he had died. I had a room with my brother and it was a bunk bed, and I remember I sat up in bed one night and in my doorway was Shadrach sitting there, and we kind of locked eyes like.
Your parents did the whole gave him to another family.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
he
he
was.
died.
No, he was. We put homie in the ground, dude. I built a
Oh,
cross for him and everything. Like he
so
was. He was in.
so you think.
But no. So he was. You know, in the doorway.
And it wasn't a dream.
No, maybe it was. Maybe it was. But I'm positive I was awake. But I sat up. I saw him in the doorway, and before I could say anything, he ran towards the bunk bed and went under the bed and gone. So that was a spooky tits right there. Um, the other things that happened, um, my brother and I were at home alone one time, and we kept hearing this scratching sound, scratching sound, scratching sound,
Ah.
and it was old house.
Yeah.
It's a good possibility. Maybe there was like a. I mean, we used to have a lot of hamsters, so maybe there was one that got all wayward. But we just kept hearing the scratching, scratching, and it was kind of built up like a horror film because we kind of narrowed it down, narrowed it down, narrowed it
Like
down.
you're waiting for the jump scare.
Yeah, and then putting her ear closer and closer and closer to the ground, and then all of a sudden from the bathroom, toilet seat slams down. We both jump. Ah! So it was kind of like that was kind of
Nice.
like a typical
Like the
horror film like
classic
jump
build
scare.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was crazy. So the one night I was in our basement, and our basement
This
was
is the one that really freaked you out,
yeah,
right?
this was a semi-finished basement. But from the basement to the garage, there was an old wooden door. This old, heavy wooden door had a loose, jiggly, door metal doorknob on it. And the house was located directly on a highway. So, yeah, big trucks would come by, and the house would rattle a little bit when I was. But you grow up with that sound. It's all
Yeah.
white noise. You know that sound. So anyway, I was downstairs. My brother and I were having a sleepover in the basement, and I hear the doorknob, and it just starts like shaking real violently, just tick, 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 tick. And I'm like, huh. And I look over and it stops. And as I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, that was weird. And then for probably a good 30, 45 seconds or so, just nonstop. And it was one of those things where it's like when you watch a horror film and they're like frozen in fear, you're like, run, dummy.
Yeah.
I couldn't move. I was so scared,
Yeah.
frozen in fear. And that was it for me. It's I knew there was something sinister going on in that house. The only other thing that ever would happen too was Sum 41's album All Killer No Filler. So now follow me on this one. The introduction, it was like some like demonic voice. It was like children of the beast embrace to scorn and hate the human race, and they kind of went on from there. For some reason, no matter if the and this was a 5 CD changer, I believe it was a 5 or 3 CD changer
We
at the
we
time
we had one of those.
in the basement. And whenever I'd be home by myself, for some reason, no matter where the CD was in that rotation, it would turn on. I would just hear that fucking, and I'm like, whoa, what? That freaked me out. I hated that. But yeah, I mean and you would think I would just take the
Well,
CD out, but I never did.
your first mistake was owning a Sum 41 CD. So
Well, they were awesome. They still
no,
are.
they really weren't. So
But the ongoing thing, which I did tell you about this, is
I thought the ongoing thing was the door.
well, no, because that was a one-time thing.
Oh, I thought that was a recurring thing.
No, 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 no.
Oh, I don't know this one then.
Well, is that I still have like dreams about that house.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Like they're not necessarily nightmares. I don't necessarily I wake up panicked and scared because I don't want to be back in that house.
Hmm.
But like nothing facetious is happening. Like
Do you
nothing's
have like a
like
feeling in the dream that like
it's
something's
just
not right
dread,
here?
just
Yeah.
feeling dread.
There might be something in that house
And
then, man.
then and when I wake up and I feel that same dread and I'm like sweating and
Yeah.
I don't like it.
There's been cases of that, like like some kind of attachment that like there is something there, and
Now that house is fairly run down now. because
Yeah.
the people that bought it haven't been taking care of it. And I was hoping when it went up for sale from the sheriff's department that someone would buy it and just fucking demo it,
Mhm.
and they'd be like, "Oh, we found a skeleton of a murdered girl," and I'd be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, good, her ghost is free now. I
Yeah.
can stop being haunted." But not that I'd want a murdered girl. but,
If it makes your dreams
but
stop.
but if it makes the dream stop, that would be okay.
Well, you know what isn't haunted?
Ice Cold Yingling,
An ice cold Yingling,
because it is America's oldest and finest
which
brewery.
means it probably is fucking haunted.
It might be. You know what? They may have some haunted history. I'd be curious to find out.
They got some. If we could get a, not even get a sponsorship. We could get a tour of the Yingling.
That would be cool. I mean,
That
it's
would
only
be
5 hours
great.
away,
We
something
should
like that.
we should do that.
What's really cool though is I think it was Jameson whiskey. I think has a real fucked up history. I'm pretty sure the guy that was the founder of Jameson whiskey
Hmm.
went to Cambodia and like paid some cannibal tribe to eat some girl, and he sketched it out the whole time. Yes, I'm serious. Look it up. It's fucking. It's wild. Yeah,
Damn,
yeah. I'm just
that's
saying.
that's that's pretty fucking metal.
It was yeah. It was pretty
Jesus
wild.
Christ.
Yeah.
All right. I will look that up after we're done here.
It was
Huh.
quite the read.
Also, Cannibal Holocaust. Classic.
A great film. That was a great film.
Well, that's yeah, I mean that's pretty much all the my mom has a couple oh, I can tell my mom's story.
Better yet, could have her on the show.
No.
I tried.
Nope.
You haven't even showed her the show yet, have you?
She's never even met you.
Well, she could still watch the show.
Yeah, well,
Does she?
she knows about it. She knows about it.
I'm gonna have your sister set this up.
But anyway, like she used to go like to with friends and like drive by and hang out at like cemeteries and shit every once in a while.
What a hoodlum.
Yeah. But I guess I forget what it was in Monroeville. It was a cemetery in Monroeville, and it's on the list of like the most haunted cemeteries
A
in
lot of zombies
Pennsylvania.
out there. So.
Yeah, that's true. But apparently, she saw a woman in white there, like walking in the middle of the night,
Oh, the
like
woman in white
like
is not
big
necessarily
gown.
a localized legend. That's
No, I
kind of
know
like an
that's a
all
classic.
around.
That's a
Yeah.
classic. But she saw, she swore she saw that somewhere. It was nighttime, and she saw a woman in a white gown, white white veil, walking down.
Which is odd because from what I understand,
The way she explained it was that it was a statue that came. It looked like a statue that was in the cemetery that she knew that came to life and was walking.
well, then maybe it wasn't a woman in white situation because from what I understand of the woman in white legend is that the woman in white appears to men
To lure
to
them,
lure
yeah,
them, yeah,
like
to
as
make men
a
unfaithful
hitchhiker,
or something. Yeah.
or something like that, and yeah. So yeah, my family's experienced some cool shit, but yeah, I have those few stories, so I definitely I'm definitely interested. I definitely believe in that stuff. I grew up watching like Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures and all that stuff, and
Yeah, I don't know. I kind
so
of I'm not sure where I stand on the whole like relatives coming back from and like talking to you or like trying to like
oh, I firmly believe
I
they
see
do.
I just try not to because none of my relatives has tried to reach out to me. And if I die and I'm like, oh, I have like I can go back and kind of like not haunt one person, but like give them a sign, give them a message or something, and no one fucking did that for me, I'd be pretty upset.
Is anything worse than when your mother smashed your Rancor?
If I know none of my grandparents or loved ones try to reach out to me after they died, yeah, I'd be a little hurtful. It might hurt a little bit more. I don't know.
Well, sounds like that's a whole other discussion for another day
It
then.
is. So, you want to cap this one off, and
Yeah,
then
we'll
we will
cap this
go
one off and
to
move over.
the comic talk.
Yeah, move over to the comic talk.
All right.
So thanks everybody for chiming into this one, and we're gonna stick around. We're gonna talk about some nerdy shit and some nerdy tits.
Oh, nerdy tits.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Seems to be
Yeah,
seems to be a
we'll play
theme.
this off.
All right.
Nerdy tits. We get a lot more views if we had nerdy tits.